James and Tina had been together for over a decade. Their love was tested by struggles that would have broken lesser couples. When they married, they had almost nothing. James worked odd jobs, while Tina stayed up late sewing clothes for local customers. Despite their challenges, Tina remained James' biggest cheerleader, always encouraging him to dream big. Finally, after years of sufferness, their breakthrough finally came. James landed a prestigious job at a multinational company and life started improving. They moved to a beautiful house, drove nice cars, and dined in fancy restaurants. Tina was proud of James and he was equally grateful for her unwavering support. One day, James came back home from work looking unsettled. He sat at the dinner table, eyes clouded with confusion. "I don't understand," he said, shaking his head. "I was interested in that big contract, the one everyone was talking about. But after meeting with the higher ups, they told me it's not for me." His wife, Tina, who was sitting beside him, frowned. "But you are one of the hardest workers there. Why not? And you've been working for these people for years. You've told me about this yearly contract. Why have they not given it to you?" James signed, rubbing his forehead. "It's always the same group of people. Every year, they are the ones who get the big contracts. And I've been here longer than them all, especially Peter. He had only been in this company for a few months. He got it last year." Tina listened quietly as James continued, frustration rising in his voice. "I have worked my way up, proving myself countless times. Yet, I still can't get a break. It's not fair, oh. It's not fair. It's okay. It's okay. Let's just hope that the one for this year will be given to you. You've really tried. Even if you are not given the contract, let it slide and face your work. Don't get yourself worked up about it. If it's not working, you let it go." Tina said, "No, I can't let it go. This is what I deserved. I deserve it," he said. The next day, James met with one of the company's senior employees, Emeka, who sat in a quiet office, the air thick with tension. "Emeka, good morning. I'm here for something that's been bothering me. Why am I being passed over?" James asked bluntly. "I've been loyal, worked hard. What's stopping me from getting the contract? The yearly contract?" Emeka smiled, but it was a strange knowing smile. "You think it's all about hard work? Yes, you have been working for this company for a while now. Like you've been good, man. You deserve the contract, but it does not work that way. You need to understand this, James. If you want this contract, you need to understand one thing. It's more than hard work. That is just it." "More than hard work?" James asked, confused. "What else do we do here if not working hard?" Emeka leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "If you are serious, really want this contract, meet me tomorrow at my house, 12." The following day, James arrived at Emeka's mansion, a place he had never been before. The door opened and Emeka welcomed him. After much chit chat, he took James inside a room, dark and filled with strange symbols and objects that James couldn't quite understand. To his surprise, several of his colleagues were also there, standing in a circle around a table filled with candles and incense. "If you want that contract," Emeka said, his voice deep and serious, You have to prove your dedication. This isn't just about getting ahead in business, it's about making sacrifices. James felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of sacrifices? He asked, his voice trembling. Emeka didn't answer directly, but instead gestured for James to sit down. We will show you what we do to get what we want. You will never get what you seek without giving something back. Nothing is free, even in Freetown. The room felt heavy with an unnatural energy as James hesitated, but the temptation for success was too strong. He agreed. James returned home that night a different man. At first, Tina noticed little changes. He became unusually attentive, showering her with affection and compliments. While his kindness warmed her heart, there was something unsettling about it. She felt it. He was too kind to her. As days went by, Tina started noticing some changes in her body, losing weight rapidly. She visited multiple doctors, but none could pinpoint the cause. She was treated for various infections, but her condition worsened. She was eating well, but still, every day she felt empty. One day, our friend Sarah, who had just returned from abroad for the Christmas holidays, visited her. As she stepped into the house and saw Tina, she was shocked. Tina, is this you? What's happening? Why are you like this? Are you sick? Are you okay? You look so skinny. What's the problem? What's happening? Are you fine? Sarah, you worry too much. What's with all these questions? Just let me answer one. You are just bombarding me with questions. I'm fine. I'm okay. Are you on drugs? Are you sick? Tell me. You look too skinny. You are too thin, girl. I know. I've been to the hospital, different hospitals, and I was being told that I'm fine. But I don't know. I've just been losing weight rapidly in this past few months. I don't know what's actually wrong with me. But inside I felt fine. Meanwhile, my husband said I'm okay and he loves me the way I am. That is all that matters to me. Sarah frowned. That doesn't make sense, Tina. You are clearly unwell. You are not okay. Look at your skin. Look at how you are. You are too skinny. Have you take a good look at yourself? Do you see how blood's flowing in your vein? Like the blood still. Do you still see your menses? Do you still see your period? She asked. Yes, I do, Sarah. Stop being so dramatic. I told you that I'm fine. It's just that I'm just losing weight and there's no serious thing. I'm fine. I do see my period and my husband has been the best. Anytime I'm in my period, he take absolute care of me, disposing my pad, cleaning me up like I'm so happy. He's such a darling. James take care of you during that time, cleaning and disposing your pad. Are you serious now? Sarah asked curiously. Yes, he has been doing this for the past few months now. Cleans me up and even disposes my part. What's wrong with that? He's my husband now. He's my husband. I find that so weird, Sarah said. Didn't you find it unsettling? And since when has this been happening? For the past few months now, I think. Past few months. Past few months. And you said you have been losing weight for the past few months. This thing isn't adding up. Tina, this doesn't feel right. I'm your friend and I won't lie to you. This doesn't feel right. Try and investigate this. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with you looking like this. I can't say for a fact, but I know that. Please think about it, she said. That night, as Tina laid in her bed, her mind was racing towards the discussion she had with Sarah. She had always had this unsettling feeling that everything isn't right. From that day on, she started monitoring her husband James, but as days passed by, she found nothing. Her condition getting worsened by the day. What if Sarah was right? That me losing weight doesn't feel right. She thought one day, I think I need to do something. I don't know. This whole thing just felt like a dream to me. I think the next day she met with Sarah and disclosed her thoughts to her. I won't lie to you, my friend. Tina, you are not like this before. I don't know what might be the problem, but everything isn't right in your home and I can feel it. I think something is wrong somewhere. You can't just be losing weight. Just look at you. You look like a skeleton. Have you taken a good look at yourself? You are not fine. But what do you want me to do? Tina asks. I don't know what to do. I've tried to figure this out. I've monitored my husband. Maybe he's doing something, but James is too good. He can't do anything to harm me. I don't think it's the issue here. It's okay. I think I have a plan. I strongly believe something is wrong in your home. No man cleanses his wife during menstrual period and even discard her pad. I found that weird and I think something is wrong. Let's come up with a plan. I think we should do this. Pretend to be blind. Maybe with that you may be able to figure out something. To be blind? I can't do that now. And please, I'm just telling you all of this. It's not that I'm suspecting my husband in any way. I'm just being curious because I don't have a fight with anybody and I don't even go out. Talk more of me having a fight, or will I say is voodoo or all of that? Tina said, just stick with this plan. Pretend you are blind. I think there's something you don't know. I can feel it. Tina, listen to me. She said, one day, as Tina and James were heading out for a social event, she accidentally tripped and fell, clutching her eyes in pain. James, James, I can't see. I can't see. My eyes, my eyes, my eyes, she cried, collapsing into his arms. Frantically, James took her to the hospital owned by Sarah. Right there, they declared her blind. For weeks, James took care of her, playing the role of the perfect husband. He was kind, gentle, and devoted. He took absolute care of her that made Tina to start to doubt herself. My husband is too good. I'm not sure it's the cause of my problem, she'd said to herself one day. I will just play along for some few days, and if I didn't find anything, I will just quit all this whole thing. Let me just play along, but I know my husband is a good person, she thought to herself. Then the day that Tina was about to see a message came. James made the necessary preparation, buying new pads, taking absolute care of her, and medication and all. On the first day of Tina's menstrual cycle, James bought her pad as usual. Later that evening, as he removed the used pad from Tina's body, he folded it carefully and left the room. Tina, who was blind, followed him quietly. She found him in the kitchen. She tried to peep. James turned sharply. "Oh, love, what are you doing? Do you need anything?" he asked. "I need water," Tina responded. He set out to the fridge and gave her a bottled water and led her back into their room. The next day, As James removed Tina's used pad, he headed straight to the kitchen once again. Tina followed him quietly, her heart racing. She watched as he squeezed the contents of her pad into a cup and headed straight into their matrimonial room. On getting there, he sipped it slowly, his eyes closing in satisfaction. The world seemed to crumble around her. She couldn't breathe. James was drinking her menstrual blood. Fear ran across Tina's veins. She quickly backed away. Sarah was right all along, she thought. That night, Tina sat at the edge of her bed, her heart heavy and her thoughts racing. The man she had loved and sacrificed everything for had turned into someone she couldn't recognize. James, her once devout husband, was hiding something dark, and her discovery had shaken her to the core. The pieces had started falling into place. After her friend visited, she immediately picked up her phone and dialed Sarah's number. She narrated everything to her. I want you to do something for me, Sarah said. You know we need an evidence. You need to make a video of him so that we can hand it over to the police. Advised her. Tina nodded in agreement. That evening, James came home and noticed Tina's distant expression. What's wrong, love? He asked, his tone soft, almost too kind. Tina forced a weak smile. I'm fine. It's just hard not being able to see. I feel so helpless. I'm fine. James' face softened with sympathy. Don't worry, Tina. I'm here to take absolute care of you. You are safe with me. His words felt like poison. Tina nodded, swallowing the bell rising in her throat. On the third day of her menstrual cycle, just as before, James insisted on handling everything for her. She let him think she was helpless, relying entirely on his care. As the hours passed, Tina kept her phone hidden under the covers. When James left the room with her used parts, she followed him cautiously, her movement slow and deliberate to maintain the illusion of blindness. She saw him go into their bedroom. She tiptoed closer, her heart pounding. She peeped through the crack in the door and saw him holding the pad over a glass, squeezing the blood into it. Then he raised the glass to his lips and drank. Tina's stomach churned in disgust as she held her breath. Quietly, she pulled out her phone and began recording. Her hands trembled as she captured the scene. But then, disaster struck. Her elbow hit a nightstand with a loud crash. James turned around immediately, his eyes narrowing. Tina, what are you doing? Tina froze, clutching her phone. What's in your hand? He demanded, stepping closer. Nothing, she stammered. Mark grabbed the phone and looked at the screen. His eyes darkened as he watched the video. What is this, Tina? You can see? Are you making a video record of me? He said coldly. Have you been pretending to be blind? How do you record this? He asked. Tina backed away, shaking her head. James, James, why are you doing this to me? Why? What? What are you using my menstrual blood for? James' face twisted in anger. Tina sat trembling in the cold, dark guest room where her husband, James, had tied her up. The love of her life, the man she had supported through thick and thin, had turned into something else. Her heart raced. How did it come to this? Why was James drinking my blood? What kind of darkness had he entangled himself with? We are doing so well financially. What happened? She regretted not leaving when she first uncovered his secret, but now she was trapped. Her phone was seized and her husband's threat echoing in her ears. "If you ever say this to anyone, I will kill you," he had said. Tina thought of her friend Sarah, her only hope. She prayed Sarah would figure out something was wrong. Days passed, and Tina remained locked in the guest room, terrified and powerless. James brought her food and water, but refused to let her leave. Meanwhile, Sarah grew increasingly worried. Tina wasn't answering her calls, and her phone remained switched off. This wasn't like her friend at all. One day, she decided to visit. As she knocked on the door, James greeted her with a strained smile. "Sarah, oh, good to see you," he said. "Hi, James. Is Tina home? I haven't heard from her in days." James shook his head. "Oh, didn't she tell you she traveled for a short trip? She'll be back soon. She's not home yet." Sarah frowned. "Traveled? That's strange. She didn't mention anything like that to me. It was a last minute thing. You know how she is now." "She traveled." Sarah nodded but walked away suspicious. "Tina wouldn't travel without telling me," she thought to herself. As days passed, Sarah couldn't get through to Tina. Her unease grew serious. Sarah Gott told her something was wrong. She went to the police and explained everything, including her visit to the house. The officers agreed to investigate. The next day, Sarah and two officers arrived at Tina's house. James opened the door, his expression calm. "Good afternoon, officers. How can I help you?" "We received a report of a missing person," one of the officers said. "We would like to take a look around." James' face tightened. "There is no need for that. My wife isn't missing. She's just out of town." "How do you know that we are here for your wife?" "Officers, only me and my wife lives here. And if you're asking of any other person, if it's not me, then it's my wife. She's out of town," he said. "Won't you mind if we check?" the officer said firmly. James hesitated, then stepped aside. As the officer searched the house, Sarah's heart raced. She silently prayed they would find Tina. When they reached the guest room, they heard Faith sobbing. The officers kicked the door open, and there was Tina, tied up and trembling. "Tina!" Sarah cried, rushing to her. James tried to run, but the officers tackled him to the ground and handcuffed him. At the police station, Tina told the officers everything: James' strange behavior, the drinking of her menstrual blood, and his threats. Video she had managed to record, though incomplete, was enough to confirm her story. Under interrogation, Mark confessed. He revealed that he had joined a secret group at his office to secure a major contract. The rituals required him to drink his wife's blood during her menstrual cycle, believing it would give him power and wealth. Tina was shaken but relieved to be free. Sarah stood by her side, offering her unwavering support. As for James, he faced charges of unlawful confinement and other offenses. Tina vowed to rebuild her life stronger and wiser. The